Joining us live from Cape Town is Lungi Mnganga Gcabashe, Chair of the Portfolio Committee on Public Enterprises. Chair, thank you so much for joining us and good morning to you. Just in terms of your reaction with regards to the changes and the announcements that have been made, in your view, is this the necessary step to have been taken, or do you think that it was also slightly delayed?
Good morning to you and the viewers. We are pleased that these steps have been taken by the Minister Gordon to intervene to the SOEs in order to restore the governance and improve on the financial situation of these companies.
And what form will it take in terms of what we can anticipate, materially speaking, that will turn around the ailing SOEs?
The first, in terms of strengthening the governance, was to change the board. Some board were changed, but on South African Express, the board had expired on the 21st of May. And the new board has been elected or appointed and confirmed by the cabinet. The second part is to implement the turnaround strategy on the management of the SOEs. You recall that at Eskom, there is a new CEO or group CEO, and in some instances at Transnet, very soon the board will be appointing a new CFO, and on Denel also the CEO has resigned, and the board very soon will be appointing a new CEO for Denel. So those are some of the interventions that have been made this far.
All right, when it comes to the oversight and especially evaluation monitoring, that the merger between SA Express, SAA and Mango is not another exercise that will bleed the airline further. Concerns around the conflict of interest when it comes to Bain and Company being the preferred service provider for this particular process. What are your views on that?
In regards to the merger, the minister made announcement during his budget speech, if I'm not mistaken, last week, and before and thereafter also. Before that, he also made an announcement in the Portfolio Committee some few weeks ago. The discussions and negotiations are ongoing between the three ministers: the Minister of Public Enterprises, the Minister of Finance, and I think the Minister of Transport. The minister is yet to come to the Portfolio Committee and give us more progress on that matter. But I think it's a good move, given that if you put the three airlines, it might strengthen the business. But we are yet to get more briefing on the matter.
And Madam Chair, I mean, with the Portfolio Committee, in terms of how vigilant you will be to ensure that the long-standing investigations that have not been enacted, or there hasn't been any resolutions made on various state-owned entities, let alone the issue around allegations of state capture. What happens with that process now that, as I mentioned, has been perennial and has been delayed in many parts?
What we are monitoring vigilantly now is that the perpetrators are brought to book. Some, like Eskom, they've taken a step of opening civil or criminal charges against those individuals that are mentioned on the forensic investigation reports, which they have to be brought to book. Whether they have resigned and left the company, it doesn't matter. The second part are the disciplinary hearings that have been going on in other entities. Some have been concluded and we've asked, some are in progress and we've asked for a report. And in the case of Transnet, we have asked Transnet to come to the Portfolio Committee and give us a report on the forensic investigation and on the disciplinary process that are taking place. On South African Express, the very same thing last week, we asked them that we want them to come back when we come back from the extended recess of Parliament. We want a report on the progress made with regards to investigations and disciplinary processes.
But the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, I beg your pardon, Madam Chair, is that they are well averse with various reports, notwithstanding the financial integration system and even internal audits that had been done at SOEs, and specifically speaking about SAA, and very little has been done up to now. It seems that there is a change of leadership, or the old guard, if you will, but no consequences really of what had transpired historically.
That's what we are saying to them, that we need to see that the consequences management tool is being implemented. And we were specific what we want from them is that who has been criminally charged or civil charged, who has been dismissed, and how are they going to recover the taxpayers' money back to the company. And those are the steps, and those that requires to be suspended, are they being suspended with pay or without pay, and what are the sanctions on some of the disciplinary that have taken place.
And how do you safeguard that national assets are not shed off to the highest bidder or even sold at an pittance because they have been run to be dysfunctional purely for to motivate for privatization? How do you ensure that there's protection of shedding of public assets?
Our assets, we need an asset register, a proper asset register from the department and from known by the department, from the SOEs. And we have tasked the new board, the minister has tasked the new board that they should guard against the exploitation of government assets or state-owned enterprises assets.
I mean, I can just highlight the fact around the many unions, especially lamenting the the signing of the the IPPs rather, the independent power producers, saying that this will drastically affect the job security not only in the coal sector, but for the fact that Eskom simply cannot afford to have this intermittent energy source.
Well, we as the government that led by the ANC, the interest of workers are always in the high on the agenda. I do not believe that the government led by the ANC with an interest of workers and the parliament of the people will ignore the workers' rights. And I think that will be taken into consideration, that workers do not lose their job in a possible manner.
And your view, very lastly, with regards to the South African Revenue Service and with the now suspended Commissioner Tom Moyane and how that matter has been handled. He's been very vehement, saying that he's done absolutely nothing wrong. There had been various investigations and disciplinary processes as well. Do you feel that there could be an overreach in interfering or micromanaging state agencies or even SOEs?
Well, that part of government entity doesn't fall within the Public Enterprises Committee. I wouldn't be able to comment, but safe to say that we have confidence in the President, as he has reported to Parliament, that he knows what he's doing, and he follows all the process required by law for him to follow all government policies, and we trust him that he will do the right thing.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Madam Chair. We're joined live from Cape Town by Lungi Mnganga Gcabashe, Chair of the Portfolio Committee on Public Enterprises, on her reaction to the reshuffle, if you like, on the state-owned entities boards.